What's up, house groups? So I remember when I first got glasses, I was a sophomore in high school, and I realized I could not quite tell what Mr. Cook was writing on the board in geometry class. And so I leaned over and asked my buddy Ryan, I was like, can you see that? And he looked at me like I was dumb and said, I can see it clear as day. So I went and I got my eyes checked, and sure enough, my vision was pretty bad. And immediately after I threw contacts in for the first time, the world looked different. And it was wild to go to football practice later that same day, because it turns out footballs are way easier to catch when you can see them coming. Like, who knew? And I just think getting glasses and having the whole world look different is a small, imperfect example of what happens when the Holy Spirit gets a hold of our lives. And we begin to see everything through the lens of Jesus and his life. On Sunday, Mike Carmody was here, and he shared part of his life story about how during just a dark season for him, he more or less stumbled into a church. Not because he had it all together, not because he was feeling particularly spiritual that day. Honestly, it kind of sounded like one of those, like, well, I guess I'll try this moments. And in that space, he just crashed into Jesus, and everything changed for him. He walked out seeing the world more clearly. Now, not all of us have a moment like that, where life just flips overnight and everything suddenly makes sense. Like if you're waiting for a dramatic fog machine spotlight conversion story, you may be waiting a while. But most of us do have moments where God interrupts our normal rhythm. Sometimes loudly and sometimes quietly. And then in the middle of that interruption, God gives us a whole new lens that changes the way we see everything. As Mike was preaching, I was reminded of something C.S. Lewis wrote. He said, I believe in Christianity as I believe the sun has risen. Not only because I see it, but because by it, I see everything else. And that's one of the major themes of 1 Thessalonians. God changing our perspective and handing us these lenses of faith, love, and hope that change the way we see everything else. And Paul doubles down on that in 1 Corinthians 13:13 when he says, these three remain, faith, hope, and love. Because those aren't just nice Christian-y words we put on coffee mugs or our wall art in our bathrooms. They're the engine of a life that actually changes the world around us. Like, think about how those things show up practically. Faith looks like trusting God enough to take a step forward before you know where he's leading you and before you feel ready. Love looks like choosing people over convenience, especially when it costs us something. And hope looks like refusing to believe that all the broken things in our lives and in our world are beyond repair. And I think in that way, like faith, hope, and love are corrective lenses for us. Without them, life still exists, but it's blurry. But when God starts working in us, we begin to see things more clearly. We see his goodness where we missed it before. We notice his movement in places we used to overlook. We see people in the margins whom he wants us to love. And so this week, what I want us to do is just press pause and ask some questions about our spiritual health. So like dashboard questions to gauge what we're seeing and what lenses we're looking at the world through. Like, where have you seen God at work in your life lately? Where might he be trying to get your attention? And how would you honestly describe your spiritual life right now? Is it energized? Is it dry? Is it distracted? Is it growing? Is it shrinking? Like, no judgment tonight, just honesty. And let's be real. There are places where all of us are energized and places where all of us are shrinking. There are things in our lives that pull all of us away from God. There's busyness, and there's stress, and there's comparison, and there's old habits. And sometimes it's not even bad things. It's just too many things, which is basically the unofficial theme of being an adult in America in the 21st century. But, like, where are we at? And as we flash back to last week's big idea, how does where we're at right now relate to letting Jesus so deeply shape our identity as God's beloved children that we're able to live quiet lives, full of meaning and purpose, seeing the beauty in the tasks that God has set before us? Tonight, let's just dig into those questions as we walk together and continue to let God change the way we see everything around us.